coming in from last week, 3-1 week. You go to UL, get a big win there, kind of shut down their offense after they jumped on early, and then you come into the weekend and take 2 or 3 against UNO, ending it with a huge offensive output. Just kind of your overview of how the team did this past week.
Yeah, proud of the team this week. Probably before we kind of cover some on the field stuff, I wanted to cover just kind of touch base on something big. NCAA legislation affects both baseball and softball. It's coming up this week. The vote to add the third assistant coach in both baseball and softball. That is, it's been highly publicized by Kendall Rogers, who's a big advocate for college baseball, and kind of going through which leagues are voting yes, which leagues are voting no. Right now, there's only 2 Power 5 schools that are voting no, and that's the Big 12, the Big 10. Everybody else is a yes vote. Don't know exactly how all those votes work. I think he kind of breaks it down on his Twitter and a couple things, but I just want to commend and just express my appreciation for the Southland Conference, specifically our administration, Mr. Bruce Hemphill, Dr. Darrell Raquel, and Ms. Bridget Martin for them fighting for this. I know our conference is one of the first ones to come out from a unanimous standpoint to say we support this. There's a lot of things that can go into this, whether it's funded, not funded. Being a 4-year volunteer myself, and going to get my first paid job, just trying to kind of figure out things on the fly, I certainly see the value in this. As far as for young coaches, also experienced coaches who are trying to get back in. There's so many good things that can come for this, and I appreciate the work that our conference has done, the ABCA. There's so many different things that have gone into this, and so I'm really appreciative of what they're doing, and we're hoping for an affirmative vote, and I think it'll be finalized on Friday. So. Now, as far as the week, it's a good week for the Cowboys. Good trip to ULL. Thought we pitched it really well. I think they kind of had one offensive inning where they scored some runs. It's one of those weird anomaly innings where they got a bunch of hits to score the run. I thought it was other than that one inning, I thought we played really good defense, pitched it well. Had one big offensive inning, where we hit a couple of homers. Was able to hold them down. That's always a tough place to play. I was proud of our guys and how they played. Then we had kind of an interesting weekend. It was good to come back home. Finally, it seemed like after since last month, and ended up playing a doubleheader on Friday. The weather was just kind of complicated this weekend. Ended up working out to play a double. Won a really tight ball game, 2-1 in the first one. Rhett Deaton was outstanding. Will Dion came in and got a critical out. Aiden Anderson shut it down in the 9th, and just had a big team win in that first game. Second game, their kid pitched as good as anybody I've ever seen with my eyes, and it's just kind of one of those things you chalk it up, give him a lot of credit. And it was a tough one for our guys. They kind of wore it on their kind of wore that one a little bit, kind of bothered them. Came back out on Saturday after who knew if we were going to be playing or not, and didn't start out how we wanted to, but really proud of how the guys came back. I thought Will Dion set the tone, was able to kind of change the momentum on the mound. Again, played good defense, and then just kind of had an offensive outburst. That was kind of a long time coming for us, and they just really didn't stop. And just the resiliency of the guys and how they've been doing, and the tough losses that we've had, just kind of goes to show you, this game's tough. And but I was proud of the guys, and they put us in a better situation going into the second half of conference.
I know on Saturday, I asked you if it felt kind of like a relief seeing that offensive output. But I guess looking back now, I guess just how nice was it after, seeing the bats kind of struggle a little bit? Just how nice was it just from a coaching point of view just to see that happen?
I think for me, I've seen it enough to where I know it'll turn. As long as you keep working, you keep the right mindset. I know it's going to turn, but you want it for the kids as much as you do anything, because they don't always see the big picture because they're in the moment. you've got some guys who have 30 games left in their career, and they want it right now, and I understand that. And so they naturally are going to put some pressure on themselves to do that. So I know it's going to turn. I know as long as we keep the right mindset, as long as we keep coming to work, you're going to have some games where somebody pitches well, things don't go your way. But the only thing that you really control is how you respond to that situation, how you prepare for the next. And so I would say the relief wasn't necessarily for us getting the win. The relief for me was a sense of accomplishment for the guys. And when you do that, then practice is more fun the next day. The mood's a little bit different in the clubhouse. Winning makes a lot of things feel good.
Now you got Southeastern coming up at home, and it's a non-conference game, and then you go on the road. It's kind of a little bit of a change up in the schedule because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday because of Easter, I guess. Just what do you think about this week coming up?
Good Southeastern club coming in. I know they, from a non-conference, they kind of got off to a little bit of a tough go at it. They had a really challenging schedule. I'd say similar to ours from a non-conference standpoint. They've done a good job in conference, and those are always tightly contested games when we play them. So it'll be a good test for us. Kind of keep us in the flow. We're familiar with their program, their coaching staff, all those kind of things. So it'll be a good challenge for us. Northwestern, I'm trying to think. I feel like everything's been a 2-1. I think in 6 years, or how many ever since I've been here. Even going back to the last 20 years, I think there's maybe one game between us. It's always one of the more tightly contested weekends every single year, whether it be in a conference tournament, whatever. Every game's tight with those guys. It just seems to be one of those things. Obviously, Bobby does a great job there, and those guys will be ready to go. I think they got one on Sunday against Southeastern, and they played a tough schedule. But I know Natchitoches is always a tough place to play. I think in 2017, when we won the series there, it was the first series win by McNeese since, I think, 93, just kind of going back. So we kind of broke that barrier a little bit, and it'll be a challenge this weekend, but it'll be fun. I mean, the guys have played good on the road, but we'll be back ready to go.
You talk about Will Dion. He's made the most appearances for you this season, and he's just been unreal as a true freshman walk-on. Did you expect him to be this good, this fast in this league, or are you using him more than you thought you would?
Well, I think when you look at it, just from as many times as you've seen players come in with a highly touted player or a walk-on, you never know how they're going to respond to pressure. You never know how they're going to respond to the environment. You never know how those kind of things. You can tell them as much as much information you told any other player. Do they accept it? Do they understand? And but the thing is, Will has been so open to information, coaching, anything we've said. He's buying into it, and he's performed. I mean, he never has a lack of doubt with himself, and I think that's going to be the first key. But you never know. I mean, we try not to put guys in a box when they get here, whether they're a high scholarship guy, walk on, whatever it is. I mean, the game doesn't care what kind of scholarship you're on. I mean, it's just do you go out there and perform? And he's done a great job. To say we're surprised, it's hard to say. It wouldn't matter if he's a 4-year senior Letterman All-Conference player. He's pitched well, and I've been really proud of him, what he's done, the consistency. Every time we put him in, the game seems to be on the line, and he's come through.
Has he earned the chance at a start, or is he kind of in his role as the setup guy, sort of like Peyton McLemore, set him up for Aiden to close it out?
Well, I think he's so valuable where he's at. Could he go out and start? Yeah, I think he could. And I think we've got a couple of guys that could probably do that. Aiden Anderson can do that. Peyton McLemore could do that. Same thing, Will Dion. I think a lot of he's too valuable to not be able to use on a game 1, game 2. Could you see that? Sure. I think it's going to depend on how things kind of work out. But you never know what's going to happen in game 3. You never know what's going to happen in a conference tournament, postseason, all those kind of things. But I think for right now, he's just been too valuable with the game on the line, I think there's some games we probably wouldn't have won if he hadn't pitched and come in and performed when he did.
You've mentioned like when we've come in here and you've probably had a week where you maybe went 2-2 or 1-3 or something along those lines about the kids and kind of having to make sure they don't get too low on themselves. Is it, I guess, the opposite this week, or do you think you have to worry about them staying too high, or do you think they're pretty even keel?
I think they'll be. I think they'll be pretty even. I think they'll probably be on the positive side of things. Just it's amazing how the wins and success feels different after you've gone through some challenges. And the wins feel a little bit different. The success, the hit, the double, all the different things, they feel just a little bit different after you've gone through something. I mean, for anybody who's had things just given to them, success has come easy. We see that sometimes when you have a player who's undefeated as a pitcher in junior college or high school. The first time they have adversity, you know how they're going to handle it. Our guys have handled adversity pretty well. Hasn't always shown on the scoreboard, but when you look how close some of the games have been, and the thing is, sometimes close games can be even more devastating than a blowout or something like that. But I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be ready to go to work, and they're playing with a little bit of an edge to them right now. And I think the day off did them good, just to kind of get their body under them a little bit. And we're playing kind of the same position guys, every single day. So I think that kind of a blessing in disguise there for those guys. And we got a short week and be ready to go.
Coach Dion looks like a young Clayton Kershaw out there when he does that leg hitch.
Yeah.
Is that all right with you? I mean, as long as he's winning, you don't care if he's
No. I mean, well, the way that I always was, because I had this done to me when I played. Throwing a certain pitch a certain way, and they came here for a reason, and we liked what we saw. And so I've never been one to change guys immediately. I want to see. At least from a mechanical or swing standpoint, anything, you don't want to change anything because maybe you don't want to take away something that's allowed them to have success. And so you want to see how the hitters respond, see how certain things go. And there's been some things we've kind of made some modifications to it. You'll notice that he slide steps all the time when runners are on base because the big high leg kick, you can't do that with good college base runners and those kind of things. So he's made some modifications, but man, I think it's kind of neat. It's kind of a throwback. I know in watching kids, when I watch players on TV, and I don't know if they had TV when you played. You had to describe it on radio. Is that fair game? Come on, that's fun. So, but the thing is, emulating good players. When you get a chance to kind of copy people and emulate and kind of fashion your game out of people, I mean, I think that allows for creativity of your mind, and you get to see, and it's worked for him. It's pretty neat. I think we've seen some scout reports that other teams have had on us, and that's, like Kershaw, and sure he enjoys that, and the ability to be able to do that with the big breaking ball. It's kind of neat, it's not something that I certainly wouldn't have taught it to him, said, hey, why don't you try this? I mean, but that kind of shows his creativity and athleticism that he has to be able to do that, and obviously it's working for him.
Coach, talk a little bit about Raspberry's emergence. I mean, he had a great weekend. His last game, he was crazy.
Yeah, he was. He started to come out of it. I think he was probably a lot like some of the other guys, like Selman and Maxwell and Fisbeck. I think they've kind of been carrying that burden of the offense. They're wanting to help the team break out. It's like everybody kind of feels that way. That hey, if I do better, then we're going to do better. And some of that's true, but you can't have the whole. You can't. Everything doesn't revolve around one person in baseball. One person can make a difference. It's kind of like Dickerson's swing that he had with the bases loaded. It's just whose turn is it? Whose turn is it? And you just got to be ready for your moment. And he did. You could see he kind of finally relaxed as much as you can relax in a pressurized moment. But sometimes you got to get hardened to the situation a little bit. You got to understand how to handle the situation and kind of block out the noise. And he's starting to come around like we kind of thought he would.
Coach, what are you telling the guys to kind of keep this momentum going from Saturday?
Well, the thing I told them on Saturday was enjoy it and getting the rest up. And today it'll be really brief. I mean, we're going to see what kind of work the guys need, whether it be ground balls, catchers throwing, take some BP. It'll be a shorter day. This time of year, I mean, we're not really anything we're adding. It's just make sure you're keeping your knife sharp and make sure that we stay as healthy as we can. So the thing about this group, haven't had to tell them much as far as remaining focused. I mean, again, they've been so internally motivated. You've had to keep them up when they get down. I think that's probably been more of many things because the want to is so strong with this group, and so it was good for them to do something for themselves a little bit to feel good about, and so they'll be fine. It'll be a fun practice today.
Good.